Okay, everyone, thank you. We're all gathered here tonight. It's fantastic. Good to see you all. Just before we start, I'd just like to acknowledge the medical people who stand on today and recognise the role. Thank you all very much for coming. We're facing one of the biggest privatisations, the biggest privatisation of human services that we've ever seen in this state. 14,500 workers in ADHC, 90,000 clients across the state who access some of the best services in the state delivering disability services, 40% of the disability services in the state, and most of the high-need, complex services dealing with services that can't be replicated by the private sector. And this government thinks it can transfer them. It can't. It won't work, and it's terrible. First up today, we've got Anne Gardner. Thank you very much, the General Secretary of the PSA.
Thank you, Steve, and thank you to everyone who's come here today, to our colleagues in the Nurses and Midwives Association. Yay! I want to start by saying that the Public Service Association of New South Wales says yes to the NDIS, but we say no to privatisation. Mr. Baird forcing all disability and home care services into the private sector is ideology gone mad. Who asked the community if they wanted ADHC privatised? No one. In fact, if it wasn't for the unions and the community groups working together, this mass privatisation would have slipped under the radar. Today we are here to remind the Baird government that we live in a society, in wonderful communities, not in economies, and we won't have this taken away from us. Government has a responsibility for delivering the public services we rely on. This includes road maintenance, child protection, TAFE, court reporting, public housing, land and property information, and regulatory functions for transport and finances. The services I have just named are some of the ones currently under a privatisation threat from the Baird government. This is all being done without any evidence that privatisation improves services or makes any economic sense. The private sector is already lining up to take over the disability sector. Serco, Moran, Bupa are some of the big names waiting in the wings to take over this public service for profit purposes. And this is being done without any debate. No transparency, you're right. Forced privatisation of public services has monumentally failed in the United Kingdom. Mr. Baird, why are we blindly following a failed model of privatising public services?
Down with the time! Listen up, Baird!
The British Auditor General recently said that privatising public services has resulted in corporations like Serco fraudulently taking public money. But no one seems surprised, because everyone knows that the main obligation of corporations is to maximise profits for their shareholders. Well, in New South Wales, the people are here today to say that's not okay. That's not okay. That's not okay. In the United Kingdom, public services and their assets were given totally to some not-for-profits under a failed model of privatisation called Big Society. In the last 3 years, under Big Society, many of these not-for-profits have been gobbled up by 4 major corporations. The privatisation of ADIC denies people with disability the right to choose to stay with their current provider if that provider is the New South Wales government. Everyone, irrespective of age, postcode or personal circumstances, should have equal access to public services. This is the hallmark of a developed and civilised society, and this is what makes New South Wales a great place to live. In the coming months, we will have an election in New South Wales, and it's up to the people to say to our politicians that we want ADIC and other public services to stay in public hands, and we say no to privatisation.
In the United Kingdom that Anne was referring to, once the GFC came along and Cameron stopped funding disability services, most of those people don't work full-time jobs, they work very minimum hours, and most of them, the majority of them, work for pay below the poverty line. That's what will happen if this privatisation continues in New South Wales. I'd now like to invite up Deborah Langbridge from the Nurses and Midwives Association, a member and delegate from ADIC in the Canangra Large Residential Centre.
Jenny, do you want to come over here?
My name's Deborah Langbridge, and I'm a member of the New South Wales Nurses and Midwives Association. Never before has our public health system faced such a crisis as we are experiencing now. I've worked in the disability sector for many years, and I stand here before you now, desperate and anxious about the future of the people we care for. Their home will close. Their future is unknown. Life as they know it will be no more. Privatisation of these services fails to meet their needs. The nurses that care and advocate for them will no longer be there. I'm talking about people living with severe developmental disability and challenging behaviour, who are going to be thrust into a world of the unknown. Unknown surroundings, unknown carers, unknown future. They have not been given a choice. They have not been given rights. This is 2014, and this draconian measure feels like 1814. Are punished and forced into a life without choice, without a voice to protest. And that is why we are all here today, to be their advocate, to be their voice. The government must be held accountable when these people fall through the cracks. They deserve to stay in their homes with the nurses who know them, who have dedicated their lives to the care and continued quality of life of those entrusted to them. These nurses will also be abandoned. This is an atrocity, a grave miscarriage of justice and inhumane. This is bad. Please do not let this happen. The state government is failing in its duty of care to these people. We must stand together and fight for those who cannot. A real choice is public-owned and funded disability services.
This campaign is taking up momentum. For a year, the government kept it secret that it signed the heads of agreement saying it was going to privatise ADIC. That's shocking. We found out last September We've all been out there fighting ever since. We started with fantastic rallies up in Newcastle, and the delegates have started rallying around and going forward, like Deborah and also like Rachel Smooth.